Why, good day, ladies and gentlemen, and today we're here to take a look at Knee Deep in ZDoom. And hello, Cody Madsen, Grimness93, Pinscap, and Riley the Flaming Wookie Cookie. And yeah, it is a shame that the Shores of Hell ZDoom never came out. But then again, you know, who knows? It might just randomly appear one day. So yeah, what is Knee Deep in ZDoom, you may ask? Well, it is a full and complete remake mod of Knee Deep in the Dead. When I say it's a full and complete remake, I mean they went really hard with this one. Now, of course, I'm currently playing this with Project Brutality, because why would I not? We got the Metal Doom soundtrack, you know, we've got the improved textures. But this is a complete remake. Like, it is still recognizable as the original Knee Deep in the Dead, but, like, everything has been, like, substantially improved. Like, to a ridiculous degree. They even have this little crawler thing here that was in the book Knee Deep in the Dead. That's how much, that's how big of fans these guys are. Also, we've got little screens that actually show real-time movement. Oh my god, it's like the future. Okay, so this came out around 2012, I want to say. And I played it around 2013, and I was very impressed. It does have one major issue. The levels go on way too long. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like a lot of content, but at the same time, it takes a little too long to finish some of these levels. You're like, Knee Deep in the Dead, you can beat a level in like a minute, whereas this, it goes on longer than it feels like it should. Not only does it give you huge levels, but there's also a little bit more interactivity. There's a little bit of scripted events and stuff like that. It's really quite impressive, I have to say. Like, I'm theory that Doom's demons already had cyborg tech. Maybe. That's one thing you're just not supposed to question. It's like, look, you know, you got a cyber demon, just deal with it. On Modern Doom mods. Well, some Modern Doom mods actually have proper pacing, like Doom Spectacle Creep, which is another remake of Knee Deep in the Dead, really keeps the levels to a more manageable length. I think that's actually my favorite. Spectacle Creep, I think, is my favorite of all the remake mods. This one's still really good. It's the most impressive by far, as we will come to see. But yeah, it does just take a little too long. The third level of this is the most annoying by far. It's like, just let me finish it already, people. And hello, Neji Tech Pro. But yeah, like, Doom is never going to die just because people keep making it, because it's easy to make Doom levels. I mean, even I did it, like, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. My god, time has flown. It wasn't a very good Doom level, but, you know, it definitely was a Doom level of all time. I never got back to Doom modding. I just had too much random crap to do. And yeah, I can definitely agree, the levels were a bit overly complicated. I mean, you know, if you're gonna go hard, you know, go for it, I guess. Yeah, it's one thing that I found, I get a few comments about how, like, it's not really purist to play with Project Brutality, but to me, it's like, it's the only way to play Doom after all these years. I mean, I was there 3,000 years ago, or at least 30 years ago. I played Doom when it came out, when I was like 4, you know? I can't play the same way every time. Hideous Destructor. I don't think I've heard of that. Play the Thing remaster. I don't know if I'd ever play the Thing remaster. I never really cared that much about the Thing. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I'd really want to play the game. I remember the old Spoony One review from way back in 2009. The game did not seem like it was that good. I imagine the remaster fixes some of the bugginess. I've not watched the trailer to the new Turok game, mainly because I guarantee you it's going to be garbage. There's going to be an initial bout of optimism and hype, and then the game's going to come out, and everybody's going to hate it because it's going to be just modern-day shovelware nonsense. I mean, you thought Turok 2008 was bad. At least that was in the bro era of gaming, so at least there was some content, some talent put behind it. Whereas this new Turok, from what I've read about it, it's some kind of third-person co-op, game-as-a-service kind of thing, and that doesn't sound very good. One of the storytelling conceits is that, like, Turok has this suit that lets him, like, take the DNA from the dinosaurs he kills. I'm not really sure I'm into all of that. So, I don't have a lot of hope just because, well, most modern games are pretty trash. And Samsara, I'm aware of that mod, and I played it a little bit, but never really enjoyed it that much. There's another mod that lets you choose between the Doom Marine, the fighter from Hexen, and Corvus. The Corvus, if you try to play as Corvus, it doesn't actually work because you can never actually pick up any ammo or mana. You can't, you know, go on a drug trip and fight enemies with your Mother Earth spirit. Yeah, Schism, that's the one. Metal Slug Tactics. I haven't even heard of that either, but once again, I'm not surprised. I mean, like, yeah, we're gonna make Metal Slug into a turn-based tactics game. Because when I think Metal Slug, I think turn-based tactics game. Really, what we should do is turn Doom here into a point-and-click adventure game. Although I shouldn't say that too loudly. I'm sure people would love that. Ugh. No, we'll make it into a VR game. Please no VR. I don't want to have to put a thing on my head. I've tried VR. It's not fun. Well, it's fun for 5 minutes and then it gets boring fast. Even VR Prawn can't make it good. Heretic 2, I highly doubt we'll ever get a remaster of that. I actually have to play that game, if only to review it, because I didn't play it back when it came out. And that's where, like, the lion's share of the story for Heretic even comes from. Although, Heretic, it's D&D Doom with a D&D kind of story. Also scary enough, Heretic is going to turn 30, like everything else does. Let's see, can I pick up the bomb as the Revenant? I can't. Okay. So basically, we just kind of get to chill as the Revenant for a second. AI tech, what's your thought on the industry as a whole? Getting into the gaming industry is going to be hard, especially as an artist with AI. I think AI is a good tool in the box. I mean, it definitely automates a few things, but the gaming industry is just not going to be going too many places right now, unless you do the indie kind of thing. I'm sorry, what you play is the ship from Descent. Wow. Doom the dating sim? There we go, finally. Fork is a trip, bunch of classes. Okay, I'll have to take a look at that. I haven't looked at it in probably 5 or 6 years. Because I mainly just stick with Project Brutality because, yeah. It just does what it needs to do. Now, I think this is really impressive here, where you pick up a bomb. It's a bomb! And you just drop it there and blow up at a wall. I think that's kind of cool. It's definitely increasing the complexity, but already this level's starting to go on a little long. Because we still got a lot more level to go. And this is just level 1. Like, E1M1 takes like 2 seconds to beat. And I just took a shitload of damage. Those imps are not fun. Oh, come on, let me quick save. There we go. And yeah, AI imaging does allow you to automate a lot of things and get things done a lot faster. I mean, yes, it is going to put some people out of business, which is bad. But any kind of technological change is going to do that. I mean, think about, you know, horseshoe makers when automobiles came about. But, you know, automobiles really made things a lot easier, just saying. I mean, there weren't any more horse corpses, you know, strewn about the streets. Or horse shit anywhere. I actually read, a primary source document about, like, cities before the automobile. It sounds like utter hell. I think I'd rather just be a mountain man. Just wear a bear fur and bathe in the river than have to, you know, navigate, you know, literal just corpses in the streets. It's like, ugh. A lot of more Project Brutality. Way too bloated these days. This is like an older version of Project Brutality. It gives you so many more enemies to fight, but not too many, and I really like the G36 here. Generative Dementia Simulator? Wow, weird. AI still can come up with a lot of weird stuff, but I like AI to make backgrounds. When I do the end segment for the stream, you'll see an AI-generated background. It's just a tool in the box. Society will adjust. I mean, if you consider people not dying in winter, that was a major society change, and humanity has weathered that pretty well. You know, not dying at age 30, that's changed society a lot. I mean, people forget that before antibiotics, like, yeah, death was a pretty close companion. Although what's interesting is you'll see a lot of modern people not really get that people could care about people even if they die. It's like, well, people back in the day, man, they didn't care if someone died. It's like, no, they did, but people died a lot more, and it still made them sad. Yeah, generative AI is going to change things a little bit, but it's just not going to be able to substitute a human, though. Because AI really isn't intelligent in any way. We call it AI, but it's not actually intelligent. It's machine learning. And what's going to end up happening is, well, kind of like with the lawyers. There was a thing that people were saying at one point that, oh yeah, they would replace the entire legal profession. Then come to find out that AI was just making up stuff. And so, yeah, that didn't really help. I mean, sure, lawyers sometimes make up shit too, but AI just can't do certain things. It's not magic. It's not, it is literal, it's not, you know, a Satan shard from 40K, you know, it's not able to do all of that. Duke Nukem Nuclear Winter. You know, I've never actually played Nuclear Winter all the way through, and I didn't even think about it, because next week I want to play, Fire Warrior, which has nothing to do with Christmas at all. I mean, those Duke Nukem expansions were never that great. Hexen 1 or Hexen 2? Probably Hexen 1, because I have much more nostalgia for it. Hexen's a hard game to get into. I played it co-op with friends like 10 years ago, and man, that game is really bloody convoluted. Let's go ahead and save again. Yeah, poor Duke Nukem. Like, Duke Nukem 3D was great, and pretty much all the other Dukes weren't that great. I mean, they were okay, and then most of Duke... Weirdly enough, Duke Nukem is well known for its first-person shooters, but most of the Duke Nukem games are third-person shooters. I'm gonna stream Land of the Babes, and that's a third-person shooter. Time to Kill, that's another third-person shooter. 0 Hour, that's another one, so... Yeah, weird. Duke Nukem 0 Hour, that's ROM data. Oh, I would like to see a PC port of that, because 0 Hour is the best... I think 0 Hour is probably the second best Duke Nukem game of all time. I mean, it's on the N64, so that's to be expected. But no, really, like, 0 Hour had, I think, the best gameplay, the best levels compared to the PlayStation counterparts. I'm not sure if Land of the Babes is actually any good. I've not played it, like, at all. I just decided to stream it. The Beach one is good, and DC expansion was fun, but way too much. You know, I never played any of those. So, this doesn't really work with Project Brutality. It won't change levels. So, let's just go to map. That's going to be Z1M2. Which means we don't actually have... The weapons, sadly, aren't going to carry over. And yeah, the intermission is pretty awesome with the 3D graphics, man! It was actually built on a modified version of the build engine. I did not know that. I'll say this, I have to say I rate the N64 higher than the PlayStation. I mean, not just because I grew up with it, but it had so many great games compared to the PlayStation. I mean, I get that, like, if you grew up with the PlayStation 1, you'd probably have more affinity for it, but, like, for me, since I didn't, it's hard for me to even think of a single PlayStation game I would have wanted to play more back in the 90s than something on the N64. I mean, like, you've got, like, Metal Gear Solid, which is a game I don't care about, and I would have hated back in the old days. Resident Evil, which is another one. I'm going to stream Resident Evil 1, I think next month. And that's another game I would have hated as a kid. There's just no real equivalent to stuff like Shadows of the Empire or Rogue Squadron or any of the Turoks. Change map. Okay, I did not remember that. Ugh. I shall do that next time so I can actually, you know, not go back to the basic rifle. We got the Desert Eagle. That is an utterly worthless gun in real life except for hunting, but it is pretty cool, I will admit. I mean, 50 Auto Express or 44 Magnum. I recommend, if you're going to get a Desert Eagle, just, you know, get the 357 mag, unless you're a hand loader. If you're a hand loader, by all means, get the 50 Action Express, but man, if you're not, expect to pay out the ass for the ammo. I mean, even 357 mag ain't cheap. But at least 357 mag is pretty easy to reload. But, yeah, like, when I first started replaying Doom back in the early 2000s, I started with just the DOS version. It was a long time. I say it was a long time. I think it was maybe a few months. It was longer than I'd like to admit before I learned that there were actual source ports for Doom and like mods and everything. ZDoom was like, I think, one of the first of the source ports that allowed you to go beyond just vanilla. And so, you know, it was a pretty big deal to be able to play something kind of like this back in the early 2000s. Games on the N64. I've never actually played that many puzzle games throughout the years. I mean, I played Tetris. My favorite version of Tetris is the Tengen version. Like, no joke. I love the Tengen version of Tetris on the NES. It's got to be by far my favorite. Just in terms of like the music and presentation. But I did play the original Tetris on the original Game Boy back in the early 90s. Unfortunately, I have no idea what happened to my original Game Boy. I know I have it, or I know I had it at one point. It might not have survived a move, but I know I had an original Game Boy, the original pea green one, because I still have my copy of Tetris, but the Game Boy is nowhere to be found. The Game Boy Color is, but the actual gray brick isn't. Burnt myself out on stock gameplay. Exactly, like you can't play the same game for 30 years straight. I mean, I know some people have done it, but I could not. There were a lot of other gameplay enhancements, you know, back in the early 2000s prior to Brutal Doom, but Brutal Doom did a lot more than just give you new guns. It really increased the overall complexity of it. It made the enemies, you know, move a lot more. Mirroring, oh my god, we don't even see that in modern games. And it made Doom a lot more fun. I gotta tell you, like, without Brutal Doom made Doom more fun, and Project Brutality just perfected that. It's like, it's not that hard to go back to vanilla gameplay. And vanilla gameplay still holds up, but like, since I gotta work all the time because of adulting, being able to just pop into, you know, a Doom WOD for like 10 minutes really makes all the difference. The only thing I don't like about Project Brutality is that bastard right there with the shield. That thing is overly difficult. He's got a fucking grenade launcher. He can shoot flames out of the shields. And I'm such a nerd, I know exactly where this sound effect comes from. It's from Dark Forces. It was also crazy in the multiplayer sphere. Turok Doom. I downloaded it, but I haven't actually played it yet. Turok Origins, I do not have a lot of hope for it. I think it's just going to be, you know, generic trash. Because that's sadly pretty much what all games are today. It's going to be some sort of games as a service thing. It's going to show up, it's going to flop, and then no one's going to think about it ever again. Honestly, if I did, maybe it'll be good though. I always like to say, like, maybe it'll surprise everyone, but I'm not going to hold out too much hope. I'm pressing all the X's to doubt. Empire Strikes Back might be the most overrated movie of all time. You know, I don't think it's overrated. It's great. I still say that A New Hope is the best of the Star Wars movies, just because, you know, Han, Luke, and Leia are actually, you know, together for the vast majority of the movie. Whereas Empire, they split the team, and it stays split the entire movie. And the Dagobah scenes really drag. The asteroid scenes really kind of drag. I mean, yeah, you need it for the romance between Han and Leia, but Empire really sags right in the middle. Because, like, you have the Battle of Hoth, and it's, like, awesome. You have the asteroid chase, that's, like, awesome. And then the rest of it, something happens. Then you got, you know, Luke versus Darth Vader, and that's awesome. It does slow down a bit too much, I will admit. I don't think it's overrated, but I do think that's where it does have a flaw when compared to A New Hope. Return of the Jedi has that same problem. Where it is a bit of a saggy-ass movie to a certain extent. Whereas A New Hope is just perfect in terms of pacing. It just doesn't let up. You know, you start out, you know, you have the intro on Tatooine. You got the Death Star. The Death Star is awesome, like, all the way throughout. Okay, let's run over here, try to get some cover. There's like a few seconds where you just kind of need to run like an asshole. Game technology. Yep. Modern games are much simpler in many respects. than some of the classics, mainly because a lot of the modern day developers just aren't as good. It's kind of funny. We got all this great technology, but people don't know how to use it. It's kind of like we're in the 41st millennium. The tech priests just don't know what they're doing. I mean, really, like, AAA games are pretty simplistic in many respects, or games as a service. Indie games are still trying to catch up. It's like, if only we could get games like the early 2000s, but oh well. Let's see. Shadows of the Empire Remastered, that'd be awesome. I don't think I would say Return of the Jedi is better than Empire, because that whole Jabba the Hutt scene is terrible. What with the singing and the dancing and all the rest. I never was a big fan of singing and dancing. Despite that, I'm still a pretty big fan of those Christmas specials, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty and The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, aka D&D meets Christmas. I mean, if you've never heard of The Life Adventures of Santa Claus, I highly recommend looking it up. You're going to have to use media preservation to see it, because I don't think it's actually been released on DVD, or I think it was probably released on VHS like 30 years ago, but it's one of those things that was never actually re-released in any meaningful way. But The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus had Santa Claus essentially be a wizard that's given the mantle of immortality by the great forest lord Ack. I mean, it is basically D&D, but Santa Claus. And it's the greatest Santa Claus thing ever. But trying to watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, it's like, that's a pretty good Christmas movie, but it's like, oh god, they're singing again. It's like, no wonder nobody liked Rudolph. Oh, shut the fuck. I mean, never mind. But it's still worth watching. Those old Rankin Bass things are still sort of a Christmas tradition. AVP 1 or 2. Depends on if it's the game, I can't decide. It's like trying to choose like between tits and ass. It's like they're both good. They're both good in their own ways. I think the story for AVP 1 is, I mean, the gameplay for AVP 1 is better than the gameplay in AVP 2, but the story in AVP 2 is better than AVP 1. Not that AVP 1 really had much of a story. Yeah, modern games just don't really have much going for them. They don't have much of a story. They don't have much gameplay, and that's before you even get into the preachiness. And like the games that I like just aren't getting made, so it almost doesn't even really matter anymore. Let's see. Watered down to shit. Yes, they are. She's still a Star Walker name. Yeah, that is something that is a last minute thing. Although, evidently, Rise of Skywalker is actually the best of the Kathleen Kennedy ones. That's the only one I've actually seen of the Kathleen Kennedy trilogy. Like, that's the only one, and I thought it was somewhat tolerable, if only because they had fucking Lando in it. But yeah, I think I'd actually take Jar Jar anyway, over Rey. I mean, Daisy Ridley is pretty hot, but, you know, that's really all she's got going for her. Her personality is not much to write home about. Yeah, it's like, I'm Skywalker. No, you're not. What? Really? Really, Rey? Did you really earn that? You know, it's like, have you talked... I think she talked to Luke, like, twice in the entire Kathleen Kennedy saga. Copy of The Suffering. Nice. I think that was on GOG, but they had to take it down for some reason. And now, sadly, the only way to play The Suffering is media preservation, which is kind of sad. And yeah, Bethesda's pretty much done for at the moment, although, say what you will about Starfield, but there's a Star Wars mod, well, it's not mods, but there's a Star Wars series of mods that can turn Starfield into an unofficial Star Wars game with the main villain being the Yuuzhan Vong, so there's that. It gave us that. Bethesda's an interesting company in that they've been very consistent in making very buggy games. I didn't even know Bethesda was a thing until Fallout 3. Believe it or not. Like, I'd never heard of those early Terminator games, which were buggy as all hell. And I don't think I would have played them anyway, even had I known about them. She's an alright. I've not seen Daisy Ridley in anything before, so that's the only thing I've seen her in. So, I mean, they could have easily done something with her character. They could have just made her Jaina from the Star Wars EU and been done with it. She'd have made a good Jaina. Or made her Luke's daughter or something. But, you know, we can't have main characters having kids. It's like, whatever next, right? Passing it on to the next generation. Okay, change map. Okay. Change map Z1M3. There we go. I'd forgotten all about that bloody thing. What is your favorite Elder Scrolls game? Everybody loves Morrowind. And I actually got a comment just today where somebody said that my More Oblivion video still haunts their nightmares. It's like, I didn't know it was that bad. But yeah, I never liked Morrowind. I didn't play Morrowind back in the early 2000s. I didn't even know it existed back then. It's like, I had no idea that Morrowind existed, and by the time I played it, yeah, Oblivion had already been, I think Skyrim had already been out. And so it's kind of hard to go from Oblivion to Morrowind. My favorite Elder Scrolls game would be Oblivion. I'm really fond of Oblivion. I mean, it needs a lot of mods to be made to be, you know, playable. But once you do that, it's pretty good. It's a bit more deep than Skyrim, but I like Skyrim. Skyrim's still fun. It's a definite time waster. My big problem with Morrowind is the combat. I just cannot get over that dice roll combat. I never liked dice roll combat, and I don't like it in that. Oh yeah, this is probably the worst of the maps here because trying to actually figure out where to go is not easy. Oh yeah, and Unreal Gold. Yeah, I don't think I actually beat Unreal Gold, or if I did, it was a very, very long time ago. That was another one of those hexen kind of games where it's hard to figure out where the hell to go. And yeah, that's another thing that probably needs a bit of media preservation. Just a little media preservation, you know. Daggerfall. Oh, dearie me, Daggerfall. Okay, so before Daggerfall became a thing, again, I tried to get Daggerfall working. It took like 2 people that I knew to get that goddamn game working, and then when I finally got it working, I didn't like it. Daggerfall sounds like it's supposed to be great, because it's going to be this big, you know, open world sort of thing that like is the size of, I think it's supposed to be the size of England or something. And then you get into it, there's just a whole lot of nothing. And so yeah, I never really played it at all. Like I tried playing it, I went through like 1 or 2 dungeons and just kind of gave up on it. Let's see, Morrowind is good. You just have to level up your skills. The Lotz remasters. I think about this. 60 marketplace. Oh yeah, Oblivion can be said to have kind of made DLC a thing, because yeah, the horse armor DLC. I'll be honest, the first time I played Oblivion, it was via media preservation, and then I got like the anthology of all the Elder Scrolls games from Best Buy for like $30 on Black Friday. So the DLCs were already included. Combat, able to get past the awful game feel at the start. Yeah, and I could not get past the start where like I got killed by a rat. You know, any RPG where I get killed by a rat, it really kind of annoys me. That's why I never got into Baldur's Gate. That, and I don't like top-down games. Never could get into top-down games. I don't know what it is about it. You can't do it. Just can't do it. Okay, think you got your little shield? Have a fucking grenade. Block that, motherfucker. He did! He blocked the grenade! What an asshole. You know, it's good. Hit him with the chainsaw! It worked, but I got shot. Patience? What's that? Is that some kind of soup? Let's see. Well, an RTS is different. I like RTSs, but I don't like top-down RPGs. I just can't get into them. Chainsaw him. Chainsaw him. That's one tough shield. I'm actually a big fan of RTS games. I just never actually streamed any, unfortunately, and I've only reviewed a couple on the channel. Really like Sins of a Solar Empire. Really like Empire at War. The only problem with this is I don't know if I'll be able to go up that ladder. Because we've got a ladder right here. It's like, oh my god. Oh, wait, I think we can go up. Yeah, and you kind of teleport up. That's really impressive. Especially for the Doom engine here. I think only the really the build engine could do that. And yeah, I really do like the overall look of Oblivion. $60, Walmart. I never played Arx Fatalis. I've heard it's supposed to be pretty good. Age of Empires. I'm a big fan of Age of Empires, but I haven't played it in a very long time. There's another Empire game. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but I played that a lot back in the early 2000s. But when it comes to Empire anything, Empire at War is still my favorite RTS of all time, along with Dawn of War. That's a lot of wars. Dawn of War, I'm actually going to stream Dawn of War next year with the Ultimate Apocalypse mod. Come on, cut them up. The Ultimate Apocalypse mod is good, but it's buggy and it crashes all the time, but whatever. It's still pretty fun. Doom on the OG Xbox. I mean, it does run on the OG Xbox, and it's a decent way to play it. Just really narrow stairs. Still pretty fancy, though. Oh, Age of Empires 2, man. I played that a lot. Circa 2013 through 2014. But the two games I got the most time on, or the three games I got the most time on. Also, we got a little bit of scripting right here. It's really impressive. Oh my god, the door won't open. But my three favorite RTSs are still going to be Empire at War, Dawn of War, and Sins of a Solar Empire. The only thing that doesn't have War in the title. We finally got a Sins of a Solar Empire 2, but the only problem with Sins of a Solar Empire is those games can go on a really long time. Like, if you're a college student that does not have a job, that's fine. I actually have fallen asleep playing Sins of a Solar Empire once or twice. But, you know, as an adult with, you know, a job you gotta work 6 days a week, you don't really have time to spend 3 hours a night on a game. Or stay up till 3 a.m. playing with friends. Now, those were the days, lads and lasses. Those were the days. Watching the Nostalgia Critic by day and playing Empire at War or Sins at night. That's really the only sinning I got up to back in those days. Supreme Commander was pretty good. Command and Conquer Generals. Man, I haven't thought about that game in ages. Yeah, I used to play the shit out of that back in the early 2000s as well. Although that was never like a 3 o'clock game. That was something I'd play for a little while with friends, and then we'd usually move on to Sins after that. Updated version of SNES Doom. Oh my god, I gotta try that at some point. Never played Supreme Commander that much. I have it, but I never actually played that with friends or anything like that. Nobody really cared about that. It was all about the sins, man. All about the sinning. Okay, I think we gotta go down here. Now, if I can't figure out this level, we're just gonna skip it. Because I already put in my time, damn it. I beat this level a lot back in the old days. Yeah, I remember when, not Project Brutality, but Brutal Doom came out. I got so many messages about it coming out, and I finally got around to it, and I was not disappointed. State, I am from the greatest state in the United States, the Republic of Texas. Joy Toys released Gabriel Angelos. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, because that's pretty obscure. Yeah, I lived in Texas my entire life, except for 6 months in Utah, which was a perfectly fine state. I have no idea what happened to the classic game room crew. I assume they all moved on and got married and had kids. Virtues of a Lunar Empire. Pfft. I mean, that might happen at some point. Combined Arms, Evo complete. Yeah. No, I'm not in Tennessee. Although, I would like to visit Tennessee at some point. But no, I've been in Texas for 36 years almost. Except for that 6 months in Utah. When I was dealing with a lot of issues and having to find myself. Thankfully, I was 25, so it was not that cringy. Not that cringy. It was cringy, but not that cringy. I find that little flashlight kind of impressive. Funny enough, I've actually never traveled to the east of Texas, only to the west. I don't know what it is about that. Yeah, I did post some videos for Classic Game Room back around 2013 or so. I eventually left Classic Game Room because they had this rule where if you post a video on their website, or on their YouTube channel, you couldn't post a video on the same game on yours. So if like I did a short video on like AVP 1, I could not do a longer video on my channel. I did not like that. But whatever, they paid money and I liked money. And money is good. But eventually I was like, you know, I'd rather just kind of like have creative freedom to do things. It's kind of weird to think that 2013 was like 11 years ago. Corpus Christi, neck surgery. The USS Lexington. Haven't seen it since 2017, but it is awesome. That is a big-ass ship, and the Essex class isn't even that huge compared to like a Midway, which is in New Jersey of all places. Oh, we'll have to go to New Jersey? Or a Nimitz, or, you know, a Gerald Ford. It's like, yeah, Gerald Ford. 2013, man. I have a doppelganger out there. He's a Skrull! Oh, man, that's sad. That is not good. Exes can be difficult, that's for sure. Thankfully, none of my exes live in Texas. Despite what the song might say. See, that's one of the benefits of online dating. See, if you do stuff long distance, if somebody turns out to be bad, they're usually as far from you as is humanly possible. So that means if a relationship goes sour, you just stop talking to them. Or more likely, they stop talking to you, and everything's fine. Nobody shows up at the house with, you know, a rusty meat cleaver or something. Not that that would do them any good, but, you know, you still don't want people chasing you around with a rusty meat cleaver. Or anything like that, you know. If they just stop talking to you and disappear, hey, you know, so much the better. Have you ever been in the path of a tornado? No, not really. When I was in elementary school, a tornado passed by close to the school, and it sounded like a freight train. It was kind of creepy, but other than that, no. And that was once, when I was a kid. MySpace. Yes, I am aware, or I was aware of the MySpaces. But back when that was popular, I couldn't have cared less, because I was not exactly what you would call sociable back then. Well, not really what you'd call that sociable these days. Never really got into the whole social media usage. And yes, I understand the irony of me saying that while I live stream, but like going on there and like posting shit was never something I would have done back in the day. Like randomly posting crap is just not something I normally do. It's like, oh no, somebody said the mean words on the twatters. It's always hilarious to hear people talk about the twatters. The only reason they don't like it is because Elon Musk owns it. And Elon Musk is like the persona non grata now. Because he talked to a Cheeto man. It's kind of hilarious how that goes. It shows you the situational ethics. Or once, you know, Elon would show up on, you know, like The Simpsons or something. Now Elon is like the great Satan. It's also kind of hilarious to hear people talk about how Blue Sky is apparently great, despite the fact it has some issues with minors. And I don't mean the guys in the little hats either. It's kind of interesting to think there might be doppelgangers around. Oh my god, it's the evil General Lotz! He's secretly a Antifa man from Portland! That'd be kind of crazy to think. And he posts videos on porn game. Actually, no, I could post a video on a porn game. No, wait, no. What does he do? What does he do? What would evil General Lotz post videos on? Communist games. Let's see. Change my name due to liking the amazing. Oh man, the guy with the banana man. Those cursed videos in his car. Wow, that's I can't even finish that. Okay, so Facebook is one of the more interesting things. I like Facebook as a platform for only one reason, and that is sometimes you can find stuff by random. Like I found a really nice Mandalorian undersuit for cheap off of Amazon, not Amazon, off of Facebook. So yeah, but other than that, I don't use it much. When I first made a Facebook account, I did not take it seriously. In fact, my profile picture was Mandalore the Ultimate. And the first post ever on the Facebooks in 2010 was of how I needed more crystal, which was a bit of a meme if you play Sins of Solar Empire, because you always need more crystal. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Blue Sky, like they call their posts, I think like, this is evidently a term for like semen or something, skeet. But like, you also shoot skeet with like a shotgun, so there's that, so I don't know. The TV was from Tennessee? I don't know. Weird. But like, you sure... Once I learned that like skeet was apparently semen, like I would always say like, yes, we need to shoot sporting clays so as not to beclown myself. Of course, then again, like a lot of those shotgun shooting terms have kind of aged poorly, because you can shoot skeet or you can shoot trap. Oh dear. Trap is where they shoot one clay away from you. Skeet, I think, is where they shoot 3 at an angle. I've not shot sporting clays in years. It's fun, but actually getting out to the sporting clay range is hard because it's about 2 hours away, both ways. So, but shooting sporting clays is pretty fun though. See though, like I don't really see the point of shooting one of those with the semi-auto. I mean, when I did that with my grandfather, he had a Remington Model 8. No, Model 8's the rifle. The semi-auto Remington. I don't know what's on a Remington. It was a Browning. This didn't go shooting with Dick Cheney. Yeah, you don't want to. He missed. He misspoke. His shotgun misspoke. There we go. And for those who don't know, Dick Cheney accidentally shot somebody on a hunting trip. I'm sure it was an act. Allegedly. I mean, I like Dick Cheney. I think he is a great person. I respect him. And I don't own any rope. I swear I do not own any rope, nor would I own any duct tape. I've not shot trap in a long time. And yeah, Blue Sky is definitely weird. And yeah, it probably won't last even a year. But yeah, but why shoot any sort of sporting clays with a semi-auto shotgun? I don't get it. Like, why not just use a side-by-side? Because you can only load 2 shells anyway. I mean, just use a side-by-side or an over and under, and it's just less complexity overall. My grandfather had one of those, it was a Browning semi-auto. I can't remember the model that he always liked. And I've got a classic, old-school Sears side-by-side, because Sears used to have guns at one point. And it was fun the couple times we went, but, you know, it's like 2 hours away, and then there's always a line. Ooh, I could bring up a subject. I wanted to buy a Ruger Red Label. Yeah, I can see why they'd probably discontinue that, because they probably didn't sell enough. Kind of like the Ruger Old Army. I'd love a Ruger Old Army. A classic old-school black powder revolver. I've got a couple old-school black powder revolvers already. They're annoying to shoot, but they're cool as hell. Accidentally drowned. Yes, he tripped and fell on a bull. I mean, tripped and fell in a bucket of water. There we go. It's very dangerous. OpenAI whistleblower. Ugh, that's the thing. Politics. This is why I don't go too political, because I don't want to end up tied to a tree and it's ruled as a self-deletion. You know, like certain individuals that I do not know anything about. It's crazy what happens. And the thing is, I will say this though, like, you're not supposed to pay attention to it. You're just supposed to say like, oh, that's politics. But I didn't pay attention to anything. I know nothing. I see nothing. I wasn't even here. I'm not even awake. I'm sleep playing a game and talking. See, I blew up a barrel because I'm not even awake. I know nothing. I see nothing. But yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that some of this crazy crap is going on, because that's just the nature of that. All I can say is I would never get into politics. I mean, because yeah, I like being alive. I've never actually shot a Winchester 94. I own a Winchester 92. A 94 is in 30-30, and it's going to be expensive as fuck to shoot. Because 30-30s are really expensive. Now, my grandfather had the competition, the Marlin 336. I actually found some of his old bullets where it was on clearance. His old 30-30 bullets still got the price tag. I have no idea how old these bullets are, but they were on clearance for $9 a box. For those who don't know, 30-30 ammo is very expensive. It's going to run you about, like, I think $30 a box. Like, it's super expensive stuff. Not because it's complicated to make, it's just, it's hunting ammo, and it's not as popular as it once was, so there's not too many companies manufacturing a lot of it. So yeah, $9 for 30-30. And I remember him complaining about that. So, yeah. One day I need to do a video on the Marlin 336. Let's see. I'm pretty far from Dallas, like 3 hours. See, I don't mind saying, like, what city I'm from, because it's such a huge city. Actually finding me would be tough. Because, like, I'm in the Hughes town, and in all reality, if somebody wants to find you, it's not that hard to find people, you know, via the internets. If you ever Google yourself, you'll definitely be overly paranoid. It's like, you can find your address and where you live, and it's like, so I'm not worried about, like, somebody trying to show up at the house. Although I did have a stalker fan call the house once. That was definitely disconcerting. There's a revolver that can sweep in an alt-fire. Nice. Not that you'd really want to do that in real life. Oh, you bastard. If I could just randomly shoot that, but then I run out of goddamn shells. There we go. Let's see. Oh, it's got broken into. Ugh, that sucks. Goody thieves. But wait a minute, no, they I can't even say it. Equitably distributed some goods. There we go. That was not a good idea. Pro tip, don't immediately blow up barrels right in front of your face. I mean, it was a complete accident. The barrels did not explode. They just removed themselves quickly. There we go. Chuck grenade. And hello, cat program. That should theoretically open up that door. Now, wouldn't it suck if that, like, blew up the switch? That's one thing I hate about super hard games, where, like, you can accidentally blow up, like, an enemy's weapon so you can't take his ammo. I think there's a Fallout mod that does that. I'm not really sure how that would be fun. Project Brutality, the light version on ModDB is. It doesn't work perfectly. You're still gonna have to, like, manually change levels, but it works. Junkie, ugh, that's bullshit. That is bullshit. Aliens Fireteam Elite. I actually did a mini video on that about a year ago. The gist of my video is Fireteam Elite is pretty bad. I mean, it's not the worst game ever, but it's not particularly inspired. I don't think I ever beat it just because it got overly difficult to the point where I didn't feel like wasting my time on it. One of my friends who I streamed it with all those years ago, a year ago, he actually did beat it, and he was like, yeah, it's not worth it. So, yeah. It's an Aliens game that exists, but not one that, to me, is really worth playing. Now, there is a game I kind of recommend if you're into, like, XCOM more than I am, and that's Dark Descent. My review of that a year ago was like, you know, it's great if you're into that kind of thing, and not if you aren't, and I'm not, so I didn't like it that much. And we started the DLC. Ugh. Yeah, I never really, I was primarily playing, even co-op though, because I played it like with like 3 people, and we still died all the time. You can shoot the pickup items that turns rocket and sell power-ups and level hazards. Ugh, that's annoying. I mean, I guess if you want a challenge, that'll be good, but meh. Ugh. But yeah, that's the thing. I would like just a regular Aliens game. Give me a single-player campaign. Now, I've reached a point in this game where I'm not really sure where to go. This was a level I never was able to beat that much back in the day. AVP2 co-op mod. I'll have to see about that. Not that I really have anybody to play it with co-op, because everybody's an adult now and nobody has time to play, especially me. That's the one problem with getting older. You have more money, you have more freedom to do things, but now you've got more responsibilities, so it kind of balances out. When you're a kid, you have no money and you have no ability to do anything. When you're an adult, you can do things, but you have nobody to do it with. Activate both power coils first. Okay, we don't have the red key. We got the red skull key. I'm not sure where the red key is. Let's see. In this game, some games are too dark. Yeah, that always sucks. Fire Warrior had that problem, which we're going to stream next week. But the Fire Warrior is a dark game, but the TV I had at the time was even darker, so I could barely see what the fuck was going on. Okay, so we might just skip to the next level, because trying to find that one last door took me forever back when I first played this. And all the times after, I never really could either. At least the track for this level isn't too bad. It's a nice loop. That was a movie everybody went on about. I don't think Fire Warrior is a disaster. It's not that bad. Fire Warrior is pretty great. Okay, there. Okay, so we need to get that red key, right? But we need to take down that shield. Well, you know what we could do? We could play throughout the level, or we could just do that. Or I could just hurl myself into the wall. There we go. We could do that. And, well, now we got the red key. Just don't tell anybody we cheated. It's like, come on. I'm a busy man, people. I can't be trying to hunt down that one switch. Brutal Doom level pack. Oh, I know what you mean. The Hell on Earth starter pack. If it's not available, I'm sure it's been posted somewhere. You can't stop the signal, man. You can't stop the signal. I mean, that's why it's always good to archive all of your game. I mean, practice media preservation with all your games, because you never know if you can be able to find it again. Especially after what happened to poor Zim's lair to take down all those games. It's just not fair. Okay, so theoretically, we should be able to open up that red door. There we go. So we activate that one. And theoretically, it's over here, I think. No, it's not. Okay, now where's that red thing? This one's a little too complicated without, like, a compass or something. Okay, here we go. I know how to play a game. Believe it or not, I've never played a Legend of Zelda game all the way through. Never did it. There's nothing really wrong with Legend of Zelda, but it never really made me want to play it. I played a little bit of the cel-shaded one. What was that one called? Is that Wind Waker? The one where he has a boat. I played the boat one. And I played a little bit of Link to the Past. I have the physical cartridge, which I managed to snag at a garage sale for a grand total of $5. I was very happy about that. Mix it with Earth levels from Extermination Day. Do you like concerts? I've not been to a concert in nigh on 20 years, but they're fun enough. I mean, I went to go see ZZ Top back in 2002. I even got a concert t-shirt. And it was fun. It doesn't really do that much for me. I wanted to go to a concert a couple years ago. Had Judas Priest and Sabaton, my two favorite bands. And then one of the people had like some heart palpitations and they canceled it. And so that sucked a lot, but thankfully I got my money back. So, yeah, but for me though, concerts don't really do it for me. It's like, it's cool and all, but you have to wait in line. You know, usually you get really shitty seats unless you're rich, so it's like, eh. To me, it's just sort of a meh sort of thing. MMOs, I hate MMOs. They're boring as fuck. I tried playing, what the hell is that game called? That stupid Star Wars one. that was supposed to be one of the better MMOs. I played that. I actually paid for a subscription and everything, but found it to be boring as hell. Played the Star Trek one, got to like level 50, and I don't think I could ever spend any time playing that ever again. And yeah, it's kind of sad that the ZZ Top guys got old enough to, well, start dying. But that's to be expected. They played for like 50 years, so... And the ZZ Top concert was pretty good. It was at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which is a big deal here. I don't think I would ever go to the Livestock Show and Rodeo ever again, just because actually getting there is a struggle. You gotta like ride a bus, and you gotta wait in line. I hate waiting in line. The last time I went to the rodeo was a decade ago, and I ate some bad French fries, and, well, started throwing up all over the place. That wasn't fun. And then everybody thought I was fucking drunk. It's like, no, I was sick, god damn it. So I don't drink. And that's fun. Like, you're fucking puking your guts out, right? And there's no place to do that. You know, it's like, because everything is kind of blocked off. And so you look like an idiot, and also you're fucking miserable. And then, you want to leave, right? Well, you can't go to your car and drive away. Oh no, you can't do that. You gotta wait for the bus. You gotta get in line and wait for the bus service to show up, and then you can leave. It was most unpleasant indeed. Favorite Quake? I would say Quake 2 over Quake 1. Let's see, Judas Priest. And yes, I'm a big fan of Judas Priest. Specifically their, actually, I like everything up to the 90s. The stuff after that's pretty good. The first Judas Priest CD I ever bought was Nostradamus from 2008, which is not bad, but definitely very strange in places. I think my favorite album of theirs is like from '92. It's the Painkiller album, Between the Hammer and the Anvil. Tickets, same tour, Sabaton, Judas Priest, switching Sabaton with Queensryche. That would be pretty good. But, you know what? Once they canned the concert, it's like, well, I was boned, and not in a good way. So, let's see. Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, I've not actually played that all the way through. I played it a little bit. It's a little too Dark Souls-y for my taste, though. Not sure if I really like Dark Souls outside of Dark Souls. Oh, he has no head. Best looking woman in rock. I forget what she looks like. When it comes to like rock and roll, and I don't really listen to that many female artists. I'm really just a big fan of a lot of the classic bands from like the late 70s to the 1980s, you know, like your Judas Priest, your AC/DCs. AC/DC was actually the first ever rock band that I would listen to back in the very early 90s. It's actually my mother who had their Ball Breaker album, and like I listened to that all the time. And then when I was like a teenager, I got the Essential Ozzy Osbourne collection and never looked back. Dark Souls 2, I actually did a video on that. Not Dark Souls 2, Dark Forces 2. I did a video on that, like, oh my god, 5 years ago. It is a very good game. It's a little rough in places, though. Like, you know, it's a late 90s game, so they're still trying to figure out how to make video game work. But I think they did an amazing job on it. I mean, like, really love those, cutscenes. For some reason, people like to say they're really goofy or something, but, like, I thought they were great. Hat with the logo now. Awesome. I think my favorite AC/DC stuff comes from the, I will admit, overrated Highway to Hell album, but I'm a big fan of that. I think my favorite song of theirs, holy crap, just got fucking roasted. Hey, I'm always going off the rails on that crazy train. Used to listen to that song almost every day back in like 2002. There was something, so back in the early 2000s, radio was still a thing, and I remember when the local radio station, which sadly got turned into a Mexican rap station. I mean, I don't want to be the Rossicisms, but it's like, that just seems kind of like an insult. It's like, you got this awesome rock station, and it's Mexican rap. It's like, well, I guess that's just the way it's gonna go. But anyway, on that classic rock station, they played a song from the then popular Black Label Society. I remember the disc jockey was like, "You're one of the that." To those of you listening, you're some of the first people in all of Texas to listen to this song. It's like, oh my god, that song always felt really special to me. I think it's House of Doom. It's not a bad song, but I just remember that. It's like, you had to be there. And yeah, ZZ Top does rock the block every time. LaGrange is, I think, one of my favorite songs of theirs. That song, though, if you don't know, like, Texas history, that song will make no sense to you. LaGrange is about a house of ill repute, let's say, in LaGrange, Texas, called the Chicken Ranch, that got shut down by local hero Marvin Zindler. Black Label Society. I think it had Zach Weld in it. But yeah, the Mexican rap station, I think now it's just a regular rap station. Or it might not exist at all. I haven't listened to radio since 2008. Once I finally was able to preserve media, I no longer had any real need to listen to the radio ever again. Although I gotta tell you something, it's kind of sad to a certain extent. I learned media preservation around the same time that I got... Oh, I hate this level. I think the latter part of this game really is not... this isn't even the latter part of the... This is a mod that can definitely get old pretty fast. Because I remember this level takes forever to get through. But I got an MP3 player that could record off a radio. So if I hadn't learned media preservation, that would have been really useful. I actually did record a little bit off of the radio, and I'd love to still have these recordings. Because I recorded a little bit where, like, the disc jockeys were talking about Conan O'Brien, I think his name is? It's Conan something or other. He was a late-night talk show host taking over for Jay Leno. That was a big deal back in those days, back when people cared about late-night talk shows. Now it's all political bullshit. With, like, Stephen Colbert whinging about Cheeto Man. But that was, like, a little bit of preserved history there. Then it's running for circle. Yep, that's the problem. These levels need to be about half the size they are. I really am impressed by what they've been able to do, but, you know, there's the Ian Malcolm quote of, they were so worried about if they could, they didn't know if they should. Now, believe it or not, Ian Malcolm, I thought he was British for the longest of time, like in the book. Evidently, I don't know how to read, because Ian Malcolm's actually from Texas. Which I think is kind of neat, but at the same time, he is definitely, yeah. Jay Leno is one of those, I grew up watching that back in the day. I mean, I don't know if I could sit through a Jay Leno anything today, but it's one of those things that when you have nothing on, it's something worth watching. But Ian Malcolm, both in the book and the movie, you know, you gotta wonder if he is a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog or something, because he does have like a little rant where he's like, I do not like fashion, I only wear dark, black, and gray. Jeff Goldblum's from Pittsburgh, I did not know that. Some form of European. Sacre bleu! No, Texas. The classic, the greatest state of all time. Jay Leno on his talk show. Yeah, Jay Leno's Cars is pretty good. And there were some things about Jay Leno that were kind of funny, but it's one of those things where if it was the only thing on, yeah, he is pretty insufferable in the book. Let's just say I think he likes Sonic. I hate to admit, though, there was a time in my teen years where I loved the Ian Malcolm character. Like, yeah, he knows what's up. And I will admit, for a short period of time in my life, I did wear nothing but black and gray because of that character. It's like, yeah, fuck fashion, man. That's just what the masses, I wouldn't have called them the normies. I don't know what I called them back then. Maybe like robots or some equally cringy thing. That's just what the normies wear, man. I'm gonna be like different. Thankfully, I got over my insufferability at age 30. I mean, at age 18. Yeah, exactly. Not age 30. Jay Leno visited Pittsburgh and fell down and smoked his head on the ground. Ouch. Poor Jay Leno. He's getting old. He can't do that for too much longer, because he might not get back up. I think Jay Leno, what is he, like in his late 70s now? He'd have to be pretty old by this point. David Letterman always felt like the, Burger King of the late night talk show people back in the 80s, back in the 90s and early 2000s. Once media preservation became a thing, I never watched TV ever again. He's like, why bother? When you can, before media preservation, you had like DVD become popular, so you could watch like the real shows. The Chaos Theorist dressed in only black. Well, I wonder, is Chaos Theory even a thing, or did like Michael Crichton just make that shit up? It seems like something he just made up. It's like, oh yeah, we got the Chaos Theory. 74 years old. Man, he's getting old. Yeah, because there's really no value in watching like television. And TV's going to be obsolete. TV's already long since become obsolete. Really, not to be offensive to people who are older, but, it's really only the older boomers that are going to be watching TV at all anyway. I mean, like, you've got, like, the Roku. Like, if you don't want to do media preservation, if you don't do tech like, a nerd like myself would do, you just plop on the Roku and you never need to watch TV ever again. It's better in every way and still has commercials. So, yeah, I mean, TV's obsolete. It's going to go away before too long. I wonder if Star Trek's going to get their prediction right, though. Because Star Trek said that by 2040, there was no TV anymore. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, for me, it's been obsolete since 2008. Because, well, if you can preserve media, why bother watching that? And, like, preserving media, classic shows that no one cares about. Like, for example, Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys. Yes, that's a good show. Everybody I mentioned that show, too, is like, oh, it sounds really stupid. But it's basically just Star Trek, but with monkeys. And the captain's voiced by a famous Babylon 5 actor. And, like, the main villain is Malcolm McDowell as a robot chimp. It was the 90s. Just go with it. Just go with it, damn it. Cut TV for streaming and YouTube. Really, by 2008, not only did I have media preservation, but I also had YouTube. Why watch highly produced TV garbage when I could watch, and this is going to sound hilarious, the Nostalgia Critic. I mean, back then, the Nostalgia Critic was great. That was a whole new form of entertainment at the time. Like the Nostalgia Critic, the AVGN, all that stuff was so new that you had these normal guys, normal being a relative term by today's standards, I suppose, but these normal guys, making content, and it felt more real. Yeah, he did remember it, so you didn't have to. Like, it was very different, It was very different from everything that I had seen before. It's like, here's a regular guy, and he speaks to me, the new generation. I mean, he kind of did. I remember watching the first AVGN and thought it was funny as hell. The Simon's Quest video that he did back in 2004, something like that. Like, it was all new, all different. And see you, Bathy Salts. But it was just a whole new experience. Something that had never been done before. Because the AVGN was not an actor. It was like a regular, college-age person like me. And it was great. It was a really cool concept. And I think it still applies today, to a certain extent. Christmas Junkie. UK Junkie is a certain type of store. Oh dear. Oh, they collect junk, right. They don't actually abuse the alcohol. They don't abuse drugs. There we go. Ugh. These plumbers don't wear ties. That was not a very good episode. Really, the best AVGN was from about 2007 to about 2010. The problem is he kind of ran out of material and didn't really advance his overall thing all that well, because he started to have to fake the anger. Because like if you watch, say, Ghostbusters, like that's a game. It's not so much about him being angry. It's more him like delivering his actual experience. I mean, if you collect Christmas junk, I guess that's a kind of, addiction, I suppose. Yeah, this Christmas is going to be a little rough just because it's the first Christmas without my grandfather, but it's one of those things. We're making it. Oh, Rex Viper. Now, for those who don't know anything about the AVGN or anything, he decided to form a band. The only problem is, I don't know how much control he has over that or how much he's paying attention to any of that, because he's not bad, but he's not the singer. He's, I think, like the lead guitarist. And the singer they got isn't very good. And so it really doesn't sound very good. I mean, I wouldn't think that James Rolfe would be a singer. But it's like, seriously, dude, hire a better singer. It's like, it can't cost you that much. I mean, there's a million people who'd want to sing for you that would be way better than that guy. But he can play the guitar fairly well, but if you don't have a good singer, people are gonna not take it seriously. And I think, like, he already jettisoned the band anyway, because I don't think I've heard anything about any more any more songs coming out. The thing is, he's a few years too late on that anyway, because he's doing, like, retro-styled songs that were popular back, like, 12 or so years ago. The mini bosses, where they did covers of like Mega Man 2. All I can say is NES games, I love the NES, but man, actually beating an NES game, now that's a hard thing to do. You're probably not going to see a stream of Mega Man 2 anytime soon. It's good God, that game is hard. And I'm glad that the AVGN has actually started to gain some quality back, because some of his later videos are okay. The Monster Madness is good, but then he did had a bit of a problem where he did a little plagiarism. Oh dear. And it was like, well, I didn't really do it. It was somebody else. It was a writer. He did it. It's like, James, I'm sure he did. I mean, I get that he needs money because he does have a family, and I'm sure that ain't cheap, but at the same time, at least try. It's like, don't plagiarize every script. It's like, how hard would it be to subcontract out script writing? You know, like, if you pay somebody, like, say, you could get somebody to write a script from Monster Madness for like maybe $50 or $100, and nobody would complain. But whatever. Oh, it was somebody else? Okay. Well, I thought it was him, but whatever. Still, though, I don't know. Does he not really pay attention to the people he hires? I mean, he should have the money, and he should have some business savvy by this point to, you know, hire people who know what they're doing. Maybe, but maybe he is stuck in a rut, but I don't know. That's a pretty nice racket. I mean, he's not doing a 9 to 5. And that's if he's contracting through a company, surely they would have to have some knowledge of, you know, who to hire and who not to hire. I mean, how do these people stay in business? Major mistake getting inspired by E1 M3 remake and even ZDoom. Eastern Dungeon map from Zelda 3 into a Doom map. I mean, this is a really long bloody map. It's like, holy crap. Speaking of which, holy crap, that's a big map. I'm just saying, that is a big bloody map. It needs to be about half this size. Dog Walker debacle, backstabbed. You know, part should have been its own map. I can see that. Yeah, Doug Walker though, he weathered that storm though. I think people like him again. His stuff isn't bad. I watched one of his later reviews. Mind hiring a skateboard friends? Now the business is in jeopardy. Oh yeah, didn't Tim Pool? Ooh, that's really cool. Unrelated to Tim Pool. It's like, fuck that guy. And his beanie. But oh my god, that looks cool. I mean, say what you will about the maps being a bit too big, but that's really awesome. Look at that. That's in Doom. You make it 10 times better. And hello, Dan. I like Dog Walker. I liked him well enough. Like, I watched him back in the early 2000s. It's kind of funny though. When I finally, this is gonna sound both mean, but it's true, and it's gonna sound mean, but it's true. When I finally got a girlfriend back around 2011, I stopped watching a lot of that because I was kind of busy doing other things, some clothed and some not, and so I kind of noped out of a lot of that culture for a very long time. And then I came back. It's like, what the hell happened? So yeah, not to say that like you can't watch that stuff with a girlfriend, but still. Although I say that, and me and that person also watched a lot of Spoonie until he got his brain melted by a breakup. I always feel bad for people who have their brain melted by a breakup. Made Tim Pool in Skyrim? Oh yeah, Dog Walker and his skits. Oh man, those were pretty bad. Those were not fun. You know, it's like those skits that I always skipped past them because they were so terrible. It's like, just talk about the movie, please. Don't be a tryhard. My God, this level is long. Let's see. Yeah, Tim Pool. I watched some of his live streams now and again. But yeah, I do remember the infamous one where he's like, is this the last episode of, whatever the hell his show is? Timcast or something? Because like somebody didn't get a live stream set up right. It's like, dude, shouldn't you handle this like in private instead of like going in front of millions of people and airing your grievances? It's like, fire people and get people who know what they are doing. More than a breakup that fried Spoonie's brains mostly had an affair with Lindsay Ellis. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not good. I will admit, there was a time when I found Lindsay Ellis to be pretty attractive. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I don't know, Spoonie's not... I think if Spoonie could not act quite as insufferable, I'm sure he could get a date. That's the thing. Of all the channel awesome people, I think Spoonie is probably the one that could get a date easier than any of the others, because he does have a little, at least he did back in the early 2000s, a bit of charisma, you know. Whereas the rest, not really. I don't think that Linkara guy, the comic book guy with the hat, I don't think he's ever had a date in his life. I just can't see him getting a date. Like, that's not me trying to hate on him, because I like some of his content, but I don't see him getting a date. Attractive as in Zelda Crick. Yeah, and I know that she's like a bread tuber, I think, now. Yeah, the Ultima retrospectives, those were pretty awesome. Has a wife? What? Okay, are we sure this wife actually exists, though? It's not like some kind of, like, blow-up doll or something? I mean, I guess it takes all kinds to be a... okay. That's the last person I would ever think they could get married, but hey, life is stranger than fiction, I guess. Super annoying. Okay. Basically become Gollum. Yeah, I mean, he does have pretty lanky, greasy hair, so yeah, I can see that. That reminds me, apparently there's going to be another Lord of the Rings movie, like an anime. I have no idea if it's going to be good or not, but I find it interesting. I'm not surprised that Linkara is one of those. Ugh, people got their brains melted in 2016, man. Speaking of people getting their brains melted, Spoonie is at least better than Movie Blob. Yes, yes he is. I'm not even sure who Movie Blob even is. I've never seen any of his videos, but I've heard that he's also pretty insufferable. But speaking about melting your brain, I came across a random video. I think it was last week, or maybe the week before, where there was this guy, this old British guy, talking about how he went to the Amazon and he talked to the shamans there, and he took something called like ayahuasca or something, the ayahuasca root, and like he was able to go on like this mystical journey and commune with Mother Earth's spirit. And I'm like, dude, you just got high as fuck and you think like you talk to the Mother Earth spirit? It's like, whatever. Movie Blob, a lot of Razor Fist jokes. Have you covered the port of Doom 1 plus 2? I have not gotten around to it just because I'm not sure what I could say other than it's just, you know, Doom again. I feel like they'd be kind of a cheap cash-in if I did that. What? The Spoonie live streams really aren't that great. Just because he never really says anything. I remember the first time he did a live stream, it's like, oh man, it's going to be great. And then it's just him kind of not talking or doing much of anything. Imagine if I just sat here silently playing a game. It's like, you know, I could actually sit silently playing a game, only I could be the one playing it. Red Letter Media, I like the Mr. Plinkett with the prequel reviews, but yeah, I never really got into that either. Yeah, ayahuasca, though, it's like, all I can say is drug culture is something I've never been into. You know, it's like, I've never done any of the drugs, but like whenever you hear people talk about it who are like deep into like some sort of drug addiction, they're always like, man, it lets you see like into the future. It's just so, and it's one of those things where this guy's totally serious about taking this like root or leaf or whatever, and it's like, why? It's like, you're not talking to the Mother Earth spirit. It's the, you know, Mrs. Butterworth, you know, fucking maple syrup bottle that's talking to you, man. It's just, no. It's not a shaman, it's a drug dealer. It's just, whatever. But see, if it sounds cool, like ayahuasca, it's like, you know it's gotta be good. Mountain Dew marinated chicken. I think I'd rather have the ayahuasca than eat something that nasty. Appreciate that I can finally play mods easily. Well, that's not bad. I didn't know you can play mods on a console with Doom 1 plus 2. Anybody else has probably addressed him down on Twitter. I knew that Movie Blob was bad, though. Say, hallucinogenics open doors. That society closed, and then straight into the ER room with cardiac issues. The downfall of Boogie 2988. I was aware of that guy before he became, you know, a lolcow, but I never watched him. Yeah, the only thing I know about Boogie is like from the compilations of him like going crazy, or him saying that he like hired a bunch of prostitutes. Coca-Cola boiled chicken. I don't know. That doesn't sound very good. Dr. Pepper ribs. I had a Dr. Pepper cake once. It was the nastiest shit I ever tasted, and it promptly went straight in the bin. Well, I'm glad that you can play mods on consoles with Doom 1 plus 2, but like, it's hard for me to really, I don't know what I could say about it. That's the thing. It's like, there's only so much I can say other than it's a good port. And really, I don't play it anyway because I've got ZDoom, so I didn't see a reason to do much on it. Soy sauce boiled chicken. Now, see, that makes more sense because soy sauce is an actual, you know, thing. New Year's Eve 2023, Nick Ricada tweeted, next year promises to a beautiful disaster. Fell for his abusive family backstory. Ugh. Yeah, you gotta be careful because anybody can say anything, and it's like, my family, I was fed like Dr. Pepper fried chicken for every meal, and they made me smoke ayahuasca. It's like, they come to find out they're like an actor from Portland. Like, you don't know if I'm actually from Texas. I could be an actor from Portland. I could secretly be a socialist. We'll see if I'm still there. I mean, like, I don't know how far it would take to drive. Vanilla orange Coca-Cola. Ugh. You know, like, vanilla Coke, great. I mean, actual Coke with vanilla in it, not the Coke you're thinking of. Cherry Coke, also good. Diet Cherry Coke, not good. Remember when they first came out with that, everybody hated it. They sold it for super cheap, and this was long enough ago that my grandparents still had their land, and we bought like, I think like 24 packs of that, and we just shot it with 22s. It was a lot of fun. That's probably the only use that Diet Cherry Coke has, is a target. It's amazing. And yeah, ZDoom, when it comes to certain mods, yeah, it does lag a lot. Like, a lot. I imagine the modder is working on it. Die at Run! Not fad diets. Diet Pepsi. I don't know. Diet anything is not that great. If you want to drink a soda, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, just drink the regular one, but don't drink a lot of it. I mean, like, just drink the real one, but drink like one, maybe two. You know, don't drink like a whole case of it. It's like that diet crap. It's not even worth it. It's more unhealthy than the real stuff, and you don't really get much of a benefit from it. Drinking a Christmas with orange vanilla Coke. Coke Zero and Coke. Blech, I can't talk today, or any day for that matter. Coke Zero. I think I've had that, but it doesn't taste like real Coke, though. It just, you can taste it. You can taste the nastiness. You can taste the nastiness. It's like, I don't drink much when it comes. I don't drink a lot of sodas these days. Maybe just tea. Thank Yzmir for Arizona tea. Check out the Fat Electrician video on like the history of Arizona tea. It's awesome. It's like, it's really awesome, like how Arizona tea is like a based company. Since I live in Texas, we've got HEB, and HEB has like a fake Dr. Pepper, but with actual real sugar in it, like cane sugar, not that corn syrup crap. So that's what. Oh crap! I knew I was gonna die. Please tell me I didn't lose too much progress. But I mainly just drink tea and lots of water. Like, there's a difference in water taste, too. Like, when I lived in Utah for like 6 months back in 2014, their water was nasty. Arrowhead water is shit. Ozarka water, or the local HEB water, pretty bloody good. Arrowhead, not so good. So, yeah, I mean, like, for me, it's just water or Arizona green tea. Because I don't really like a lot of sugar. Especially these days. My god, that's a lot of pinkies. Those Monster Energy drinks never did much for me. Never really gave me much energy. They would keep me from sleeping, which I didn't like. But I'd still be exhausted the next goddamn day, so it's not really worth it to me. That and Red Bull. Flint water. Ugh. Okay, we need to run, because that's a lot of bloody bastards in there. That's a lot of dudes, and we are going to need to use some incendiaries. No, we want to use the acid. It's ayahuasca time! I'm going to send him to the Mother Earth Spirit in the next dimension. But still, though, ayahuasca, it's just like, there's like a world beyond the world, man. And like, you can like learn about yourself as you learn about like existence. Like, my mind's blown. Alright, there we go. I never drank coffee either. That shit never really did much for me. Alright, that was a long goddamn level. Let's see how much we got. Okay, we can Pacific Punch. I don't think I ever had that. There we go. Let's see, so okay, so I didn't knock that out. Good. Ayahuasca. Okay, whatever. I only watched the video once. It was like a couple weeks ago. It just was so funny how serious that guy was, though. I mean, maybe I don't discount that there's like supernatural shit out there, because there's weird, unexplainable stuff. But I just don't think that like smoking, you know, whatever that shit is, it's gonna help you commune with the Mother Earth Spirit. Oh yeah, the DMT. That was another thing. I never really got into Joe Rogan, but I remember like watching a video where he was talking about like DMTs. It's like, Mr. Rogan, I don't think that DMTs are going to like expand your mind. I'm just saying. You know, it's just it's not really. If all you had to do was smoke some of the good stuff to commune with like spirits and shit, I think it's a little harder than that to commune with spirits. Okay, what is it? Ayahuasca is, I think, like a leaf or a root or something, and I think like you grind it up and you grind it up and drink it. That's what it is. Yeah, because now I remember, like in the video, the guy was talking about how like you drink it and like it lets you commune with the Mother Earth Spirit or something like that. It's just, yeah, it's one of those things. It's just I find the name really funny because it sounds so serious. Why so serious? Hey, I guess we have to go down here. Yeah, I've never gotten drunk, never gotten stoned on the weeds, man. That was never my kind of. That just never really appealed. Never appealed at all. It's not like I'm boring, but it's just like, why do I want to get? Why do I want to get fucked up, man? It's like, what benefit do I get from that again? And I've known people who, I've known drinkers in my time, and I don't know, they always find some way to like justify it. Pharmacy comes from witchcraft, huh? I mean, actual, you know, like medicine that's been scientifically, you know, discovered actually does work. Snake oil and shit was never something that was useful. Evidently the withreed is good for like pain relief and a few things like that, but you know, I'm just saying that also sounds an awful lot like an excuse too, to like, I've got like pain in like my lower back and like I need like 5 bushels or something. Sadly, like in current year, we got a lot of problems with, you know, that, what is that called? It's in the news all the time. There's some kind of opioid that everybody's, like, addicted to these days. I've never even seen it, so shows how much, I know. Oh, what is that called? Yeah, well, whatever. There is some kind of opioid that everybody loves. Fentanyl, that's what it is. I didn't even know that was a thing until, like, all the various medias started covering it. Apparently, it's pretty bad. Like, you get addicted pretty quick. Weirdly enough, though, like, drugs and stuff like that were actually a pretty big, part of American culture at one point. It used to be everything was legal. Like, morphine and cocaine. Cocaine was in Coke. It's like, man, people like to get fucked up, I guess. And yes, cocaine was in Coke in, like, the 1800s. I mean, that'll put, that'll definitely, get you going, I guess. But then again, like, sodas and shit were primarily, like, considered medicinal, it was medicinal, man. It's super easy to overdose, yep. Being addiction, it says the hardest thing. Yeah. That's always sad to see people get, fall down that pit. Like, I'm totally addicted to Doom, man. I can stop anytime I want. And I can play Duke Nukem, but I want to play more Doom. It's like, I just have to, like, one more level. Coca-Cola still has traces of cocaine? Ugh. Well, that's why I drink Dr. Pepper. The true southern soda. That or the root beer. A flavorless marsh we call Root Marm. As long as we don't have to marry our cousins, that'd be pretty nasty. But, yeah, like, I think a lot of people hate on sodas now. Apparently they're supposed to be super unhealthy. But, like, come on, are you just supposed to drink water every day of your life? Even I'm not that boring. Now, one of my favorite sodas is still Mountain Dew. I haven't had it in years, but when they made that sugar Mountain Dew, I drank the shit out of that. Lacing other drugs to increase their potency? Yeah. Pepsi's pretty good. I used to drink that. I remember how unhealthy I was at one point. I never actually got fat or anything because I kept doing weights and everything. But I remember, like, on Fridays, I would have, like, back in the old college days, I'd have, like, one of those nasty-ass frozen DiGiorno pizzas and, like, 2 or 3 of those large Pepsis. These days, I don't do that anymore, but, yeah. Those fucking DiGiorno pizzas, ugh, those things are nasty. It's like, I guess if it's all you got, or you're like 20 and, you know, you want a pizza, but, would not recommend. If you live near a, Whole Foods, now that is a good place to go, because they actually have pizzas for pretty cheap. You can get like a fairly large one for like 12 bucks. Well then, dude, I would recommend drinking water. And that's not an easy prospect, because there was a time when all I did was drink Diet Coke. When I was like an early teen, that's all I would drink. But I eventually did wean myself off of that, and just started drinking water exclusively. I haven't really paid attention to frozen pizzas, so I'm glad there's stuff that's better than DiGiorno. Red Baron, I remember those guys. I remember when I lived in Utah for like 6 months, I ate the shit out of them too. Because they're like $1. And I think they weren't that offensive. I think. It's been a decade. These days, if I want a pizza, I will just go to, oh, you bastard. It's a very famous store in Texas, but, King of the Sky, fly too fast, fly too high. And hello, John Doe. There was actually a coupon you could get for the Red Baron game, which I have not played, but I'm aware of. I think my grandfather got a copy of the Red Baron game, I think. And I don't think it worked. I think we tried to take it back, but you can return software. But yeah, if you want a cheap pizza, just get one from Whole Foods for 12 bucks. Okay, now I'm confused as to where we're supposed to go here. Now, for the longest time, I'd always just eat a regular pepperoni pizza, but these days, I've converted to the cult of cheese. That's all I get now is just cheese pizzas, because there's something about a cheese pizza that just, I don't know, it seems better than something with a bunch of toppings. And for the longest time, I never would eat a cheese pizza. I always thought they were boring, but I finally decided to take the plunge, and I have not come back. I have not turned back. Okay, where the hell? We made it through that last level. We gotta try to make it through this one before we call it a day. Maybe we go back in here? Maybe? Pizza from Little Caesar for $5. I've had those. They're not bad. I'm not sure if they're as economically viable as they once were. I don't know. I joined Hollywood Video back in the early 2000s. God damn it. Mushrooms. Ugh. Mushrooms and pineapple, and yeah, I think I'll pass. Anchovies. Just a basic pizza pie, ladies and gentlemen. I actually I was friends with somebody who was from, I think they were from New Jersey, and they would always call pizzas pies. I don't know, it just seemed kind of weird, seemed kind of heretical. You know, it's just like, a pizza doesn't really, I guess you could kind of say it's a pie, but I never really associated that with like a pie. When I think of a pie, I think it has to be sweet. I guess you could make a sweet pizza, although I don't think I'd want to eat it. Like, mushrooms on burgers. Yeah, I never was a mushroom kind of guy. I mean, although I will admit, I haven't had a mushroom in a long time, so I don't know. Oh my god, it's the magic mushrooms. But they're not really magic. Chicken pot pies are savory. You know, that's one thing, I know that people love their pot pies, but I don't think I could ever stand to eat one of those. See, like, pot pies are, to me, like, what we today would kind of call a poverty food, like they're cheap. I remember back in the long ago days of my college years, and yeah, like, you get a pot pie for like 75 cents. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever want to eat one again. Pizza pie is, people just call it a pie. I don't know. Yeah, that's what they used to call it, but pizza pie just seems weird. I would like to try pie tins. Pie pans. Yeah, we just call them a pie pan here. Now, I would like to have a meat pie. I've actually talked to some people from other countries that have meat pies. They sound pretty good, and I've also read about them in, like, fantasy books. But I've never actually had one. It's not like you can just go down to, you know, H-E-B and buy a meat pie. But they sound kind of neat, like some sort of, you know, pastry-ish kind of thing with, like, steak in it. The Grandma's Pizza. I don't think I've ever heard of that. So, I don't know. No, meat pies are a real thing. You can get them in, like, the UK and a few other countries like that. And apparently it's some kind of pastry crust with, like, well, meat in it. Hence the term meat pie. Not a thing you can really get here. When I actually talked to somebody from the UK once, they were like, oh yeah, it's a real thing. I thought I died, but instead I just became a revenant. It seems fitting. It's an actual real thing. It's not just in, you know, a fantasy book. Lamprey pie, eels. Now watch, maybe an eel is actually good, but the idea of eating some slimy ass eel does not really appeal. And I totally meant to rhyme that. Totally meant to do it. But then again, like, you know, I make a joke in a video that's coming up about spotted dick. Spotted dick is actually some kind of sponge cake that you used to be able to get in the US, but you can't now. Soul Reaver remasters. Nice. I don't know, I have never really gotten into those games. Rhubarb pie. Nope. Stickman and Woodman as the bosses. Yeah. I have not really beaten any of the Mega Man games in a long bloody time. The first time I beat Mega Man 2 was on my Game Boy Micro. Because you could put, if you got a flash cartridge, nothing seems to happen. It sounds about like my life. But if you bought a flash cartridge for the GBA, you could emulate like the NES. You couldn't do SNES. You couldn't do SNES and you couldn't do Mega Drive. But you could do NES. And I did beat, for the first time ever, Mega Man 2 on the Game Boy Micro. And I gotta tell you, that game is hard as fuck. Like, I don't know how I did it. A lot of save states. Good pizza places in Grand Rapids. Ugh. I primarily just get pizza from Whole Foods, just because it is nice and cheap. We like cheap around here. The Mega Man series, I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did. I mean, like, 80s gamers were better than me, that's for sure. But then again, I guess if you had just the one game, you'd be able to learn everything about it. For me, I like games where you can, you know, quick save. Because I hate having to start from the very beginning. Oh my god, it's... I'm not sure who or what that is. I guess that's the modder, maybe? It kind of looks like Bully McGuire from Spider-Man 3. See, is that a... No, it's not an elevator. That's just weird. I gotta say, though, that does look pretty creepy. Spider-Man 3, I've not seen it. I'm aware of the memes, though. I've not seen the Romero parody. Well, I figured it was a parody of that, but I'm like, who's on the spike? Whose head is that? I'm not sure if we're going to be able to beat this level just because... Okay, we need a silver card. Ooh, we're going to get fancy. How much is silver per ounce now? That looks a lot like Bully McGuire, though. Ooh, give me those shells. I like that those acid pools are that deep. We got about 10 minutes. Yeah, this level's a little more annoying than the previous one. It's not, I don't think it's gonna be quite as long, but like it is a little more convoluted. Ugh. Yeah, so next week we're actually going to have some have a video on the classic Aliens expanded universe that sadly lived and died in the 90s. It's one of those things where those are books that I've read so much over the years, and they really do last. They really do stand the test of time, just because they don't really narrow themselves down to like a single era in time, like a number of other Aliens stories do. It's got a lot of life in them too, with some really good classic characters. Oh, there's the key. Ugh. Except I think that's like an orange key or something. Yep, there it is. Orange door. Good God, there's a lot of enemies in there. What time is it? Okay, we got 10 minutes. Got 10 minutes before we're going to start wrapping things up. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to beat the level in 10 minutes, because this one's looks like it's going to be just as long as the last one. I will say, though, this mod is pretty bloody impressive, though. It needed to be about half as long, though. I mean, once again, I like having plenty of content, but man. This is knee-deep in ZDoom. Being played with the Project Brutality gameplay enhancement, because we like Project Brutality around here. Okay, we are so low on ammo. I think there's one other issue I had with this mod, is like, there's just not enough ammo. Cut him up! What's a paladin? Ah, there's the silver card! Yeah, that tiger growl reminds me of that god-awful Bayformers Megatron that they basically gave him like 5 lines and all were bad. Others, I assume, have their wives review games with them. You know, when I finally find somebody who's halfway decent, I will probably do the same. Many years ago, I was actually married at one point, and I actually had my significant other do game reviews with me. Sadly, a lot of those reviews have ended up being taken down just because, well, when you're no longer with somebody, it's kind of awkward to have the video still up there. And very good, Triple X Medic. Hopefully you didn't run over too many people to get there. Especially with traffic the way it is. God, traffic is terrible at Christmas time. My God, ladies and gentlemen. You know, once again, HEB, you do not want to be within 5 miles of a goddamn HEB. Like, there is no place to park. Like, every space, even the ones in the back of the store, are filled. And Walmart, forget about it. Like, you take your life into your hands if you try to go to Walmart during this time. I think, like, the happy console gamer, isn't he, like, in his 50s now? It's like all those gamers from when I was, you know, in my early 20s are now ancient. I remember seeing a website called Retroware TV, and they had a post where one of the commentators was like, the kid is now old because he turned 30 in like 2008. That guy is gonna be almost 50 now. It's like, yeesh, what happened? What happened? The world I grew up in is gone. You know, people say that it's hard to find women who are into sci-fi and stuff, but it wasn't for me. Like, of the females I've dated, all have liked science fiction and fantasy. Even the ones I haven't dated, like the ones I'd actually wanted to talk to, all liked it. So, I don't know. I think that might just be a media myth or something. I think it's like, the media's like, oh yeah, the women's don't like that. It's like, well, I don't know. I'm just saying. And then you go to like these cons. There's a lot of chicks dressed up as a lot of science fiction characters. Far too many dressed up as Rey, but whatever. I guess I can allow it. I guess. Yeah, parking in Christmas time. It's like, what are people doing? Don't they know that Christmas is the same time every year? Why do they all have to panic buy? I mean, for me, I did my Christmas shopping in, like, September. It was already long since done. And I've never actually gone to an anime con just because I'm not a big anime fan. And thank you very much for the $5. Zombie outbreak ammo reserves. Oh, you have nothing to worry about when it comes to that. that likes guns and trucks, a rarity. Well, I mean, I do live in Houston, so there is a huge population, but just because a chick likes guns does not necessarily mean they're going to like everything else, though. Most of the females I've dated have liked guns well enough. Never to the scale that I did, but at least ones. There's nothing sexier than a nice babe with a shotgun. That is to be certain. As for me, I'm not that big a fan of trucks, just because I don't really have a need for one. I did have a SUV at one point, drove it for 7 years, and my god, it got shitty gas mileage, and that was not cheap. Like, if that, and God forbid that thing ever breaks down, you're gonna need like 3 people to push the bastard. So, yeah, Christmas time is here at last. My favorite Christmas movie is still gonna be The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. And that and The Life Adventures of Santa Claus, as I mentioned earlier in the stream. You know, where it's just D&D, but with Santa. Where he worships the great Ack of the forest. See, that's the thing. Christmas can either be really sappy or really fun. Smell good, but some people terrible. That's always true, yes. That is always true. Well, Houston is weird. Yes, it's in the blue part, but at the same time, it's not that bad depending on where you live. Then again, I don't... So it's like, yeah. I never was a big fan of It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, it's not a bad movie, but it's not one I ever really go back to much. Oh, okay, I can't figure out where to go, so we're gonna go to the talkie portion. But yeah, a lot of those Christmas movies really are just kind of annoying. One of my favorite Christmas movies that I really can't watch much anymore is The Christmas Chronicles with the guy who played Snake Plissken. I really like that one, but that ending would make me too emotional. Just because, you know, people dying and then sending a message into the future. It's like, I don't know if I really want to see that. But I really like that one a lot. Or like Santa Claus has like magical powers and, well, once again, played by Kurt Russell. Finally remember that name. Oh, I actually did a Christmas special back in 2010. Unfortunately, it's lost media because it got copyright struck. And I lost the original copy of the review in a hard drive Christmas twister. Oh my. In a hard drive failure. Christmas movies that are horror-based are always just kind of weird. I mean, like, there's, I think, one called Black Christmas where, like, Santa Claus is, like, a murderer. And then there's, like, Krampus. Krampus, man! Where he's got, like, antlers and, like, snatches people who are naughty. One of the things I always liked about Christmas was the Christmas mods for, not the Christmas mod, the Christmas skins for Killing Floor 1 and 2. I actually got Killing Floor around the time of Christmas because I think it was on sale. And so, whenever you have to, like, fight the Patriarch, I always think of, like, oh, you gotta fight Santa. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am General Lotz. I'm gonna wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, even though I'm gonna be streaming just before Christmas, but whatever. The Jack Frost horror movie, that came around the same time as the Michael Keaton Jack Frost movie. I'm sure that traumatized a few kids back then. In any event, I'm gonna wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, or whatever. G-Shock watches? No, I do not. I don't really wear watches, period. So anyway, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.